It's drive time in Los Angeles, and yet another talk show host is giving you a piece of his mind.
It's a bunch of nonsense that, quote, race plays a part of everything in America, end of quote, and I resent it.
We've all heard that before, but look who's talking.
Being a victim gives you a feeling of comfort, of security. After all, I didn't screw up, they stopped me. I don't have the job I want, the car I want, the wife I want, the spouse I want, the date I want, because they screwed me.
Turn on your radio and the talk show host is telling you that race is not a serious problem in the United States, that the civil rights movement is the wave of the past, that affirmative action should be outlawed and welfare eradicated. Who other than perhaps Rush Limbaugh and some like-minded middle-aged white men would dare air such views, dare say that black leaders should stop whining? Well, look who's talking.
It's a bunch of nonsense that, quote, race plays a part of everything in America, end of quote, and I resent it.
Larry Elder holds the afternoon drive time slot on KABC Radio Los Angeles, a town where gridlock truly means captive audience.
What kind of message is that? It's hopelessness.
Elder maintains the black community is being fed a diet of racism by black leaders who encourage a so-called victim mentality.
Being a victim gives you a feeling of comfort, of security. After all, I didn't screw up, they stopped me. After all, it wasn't my fault I didn't get the promotion, they stopped me. I don't have the job I want, the car I want, the wife I want, the spouse I want, the date I want, because they screwed me.
The playing field is more level now than it's ever been, and the biggest factor in determining whether or not you're going to be successful is your willingness to work hard. That is my message, that is my credo, and for that reason I'm called a racist Uncle Tom. It's a joke.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, once again, the court is back in session.
Elder, a 44-year-old lawyer, holds court from the studio and makes conservative judgments about everything. Take the caller who wants to soak the rich.
The rich don't pay their fair share of taxes? Stick it to them. How dare you get up early, work hard, stay late, start a business, and earn more money than the rest of us? Larry Elder, Talk Radio.
In Talk Radio, a slap on the face is a badge of honor.
Blacks exaggerate the significance of racism. Affirmative action is wrong. Medicare should be abolished. Want more fatherless kids? Fine. Keep welfare.
Black leaders keep saying it, and many, many white leaders keep saying the same thing, that the major, number one problem in this country is race. And you're saying they're wrong.
Oh, it's nonsense. The number one problem in this country is crime. Come on. The black middle class is thriving. There are more black elected politicians than ever before. There are about 1 million black managers and administrators. The income gap between the average black man and the average white man continues to narrow. How could race be the most intractable problem in America? It's nonsense.
But not too many black callers. Randall, you're on the air.
I mean, you can see it, the joblessness, the unemployment, the beatings of the police. You know, I lived in South Central LA.
Randall, I believe that your mentality is as large a problem as the racism that you're so concerned about. What you are telling people is the cops hate you. The criminal justice system hates you. Everything is somebody else's fault.
I think he believes in what he's saying, but I don't think he has evaluated the impact of what he does.
Connie Rice, one of the leaders in the fight to keep affirmative action in California, feels he is doing great harm. He would say that one effect of the traditional African-American leadership in this country is, in fact, to hold people back and to create what he calls a victim mentality.
Victims don't stand up, call their abuse for what it is, march into court to get it changed, demand a change in this country's culture, and then help that country achieve that change. That's not what victims do. In my mind, victims suffer their abuse in silence.
Come on. You're against affirmative action, right?
I am.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, there it is right there. Come on.
Affirmative action is premised on 3 things, all of which I reject. The first is the white man can't be trusted to do what is in his best interest. It is in the white man's best interest to hire the most talented, the most qualified. The second is you owe us. Who can't make that argument? When does it stop? Where does it stop? The third premise, hardly ever stated out loud, is that we can't make it on our own. We're not good enough. We can't compete without a boost. And I most assuredly reject that.
What would you say, though, if someone says, look, you're against affirmative action. You're a product of affirmative action. Mm-hmm. And people could accuse you of saying, I got mine, so it doesn't matter anymore.
Mm-hmm. And that's an allegation that has been made. And I've been quite candid that I've been a beneficiary of affirmative action. And I respond to it this way. Are you saying, but for affirmative action, Larry Elder would be jobless, homeless, and broke? No. I was going somewhere.
And this is Larry Elder, absolutely quite positively no S, a.k.a. the Sage from South Central.
He calls himself the Sage from South Central. He grew up in that part of L.A. filled with contradictions. A tidy, house-proud community, and yet, in parts, brimming with anger and violence, both of which he rejected. He graduated near the top of his class at Crenshaw High School. Then went on to Brown University, and then the University of Michigan Law School. He then started a successful executive search business in Cleveland, gave it all up, got divorced, and moved back to L.A. and barged his way into talk radio.
I did it because I felt I needed to make a difference. I'm looking at the country. I'm looking at black-on-black crime. I'm looking at a country where 50% of the prison population is black, where 70% of black children are born to unwed mothers. Something is very wrong here, and racism cannot account for all these problems.
Jesse Jackson 1 was a valiant, gallant warrior for civil rights. Jesse Jackson 2 doesn't have a clue.
He is a man with a mission to debunk, he says, the constant stream of civil rights invective. He writes op-ed pieces, does the talk show circuit, publishes a monthly newsletter called The Elder Statement, and pushes his